girl, you need to lose 10 pounds. Your blood pressure is high. Hey soul family, welcome back to my channel. My name is wow, we're off to a great start. My light just fell down. Let me fix it. Okay, there we go. Yep. Okay, all right, I think that's better. All right, let's try this again. Hey soul family, welcome to my channel. My name is Gina Rock, the soul worker, and on this channel we talk about all things self-love, wellness, and healing for you to grow on purpose. If it's your first time here, please hit that like button, subscribe, share, do what you gotta do. If you are returning, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You know that this is a new channel, and so any little like or any comment really supports me in growing. And it also lets me know that the videos that I'm making, you're actually resonating with. So thank you. In today's video, we are talking about how to kickstart your journey. What journey is that? I forgot to share. We're talking about how to kickstart your health journey. You can grab your cup of coffee, you can grab your tea, your wine. I ain't judging. I'm not, okay? And let's go ahead and get started. It wasn't until I went to a doctor's appointment and my doctor was like, girl, you need to lose 10 pounds. Your blood pressure is high. And I was like, but I'm like early 20 something, like, what do you mean? This can't happen to me. Like, I can't be at risk for high blood pressure. It just never clicked to me. And I didn't even truly understand what that meant. But from there on out, I made it a goal of mine to focus on lowering my blood pressure. And the doctor's advice was for me to lose 10 pounds. Did they tell me how to do it? Of course not. But that was my focus. And so that is kind of what honestly kickstart my journey. I thought that I was healthy. You know, I was working out here and there or whatever, and I was eating what I wanted and sometimes adding in the greens here and there. I truly had no idea that the way that I was living was impacting my blood pressure in that way. Number one is to find a doctor. Yes, I think the first thing that anyone can do is to find a doctor if you have access to healthcare, if you have access to insurance, to make sure to get on a reoccurring annual schedule with your doctor so that you can have regular visits and regular checkups. Now, I know that access is a huge issue for some people. And so if you are not able to find access to a doctor or maybe not afford it, I would suggest looking into your neighborhood, seeing what free services they have to kind of track different numbers such as your blood pressure and all that. And we'll get into that next. But I would say to focus on finding a doctor that resonates with you. So this is really important for me, for anybody, but I think myself as a woman and as a Black woman, making sure that I have a doctor that advocates for me and that truly understands me and listens and hears me is something that I personally look for when I was searching for a doctor. Now, I have an example of this. In 2021, I had chronic inflammation, and that inflammation caused me to break out in hives everywhere. It was horrible. I guess I'll pop in some photos just to share what that looked like, but it felt awful. I was extremely stressed. I wasn't getting a lot of sleep because the hives were showing up at night. I was very itchy. It was just uncomfortable to be in my skin. I had them everywhere. I'm talking about like my lips were swollen, my back, my fingers, my toes, everything. It was just awful. So I remember one day, my hives, my lip was just so big. My top lip was probably like this big, and it was so embarrassing. And I was just like, thank you, God, for the fact that we are still masked up. However, there's a reason why I'm sharing that story. I went to my doctor for my annual checkup, and she shared with me that my blood pressure was a little out of the range. And her recommendation for me was to make sure that I was managing stress, which leads to high blood pressure, and also to see if I could decrease my weight. Again, like, I think you can see a correlation here between weight and also inflammation. I went ahead and did that, and she also recommended an allergist for me, and she recommended like Benadryl, which I utilized, and it was helpful to a certain extent. It was time for me to go back to my primary care doctor. I didn't want to because it was so far away. I was about 45 minutes from her, and although I really loved going to her, and she was definitely an advocate for me and supporting me and truly listening to my needs, the distance was a little too far. I just wasn't trying to sit in traffic. So I decided to find a doctor that was closer to me. Scheduled that appointment, and I went to the doctor, and I was still going through the ebbs and flows with my hives. It was managed, but it wasn't all the way gone. And so she indicated the same thing to me and said, hey, it looks like your blood pressure is a little bit elevated. And I explained to her the findings of my doctor, my previous doctor, and the allergist, who, kind of pinpointed and said, yeah, like your blood pressure is linked to the hives, and obviously that the stress that comes with it as well. And it was my first time meeting this doctor, and they instantly recommended high blood pressure medication. Now, this was a huge red flag for me because, first of all, this is my first time meeting you. Why are you prescribing medication? And second off, I just didn't feel as though they were listening to the journey that I have been on over the course of the year and managing the hives and everything like that. And nor did they provide a solution or any input besides going on blood pressure medication. So yeah, I had to let her go, because if you're meeting me for the first time and you're prescribing me medication, that is a huge red flag. In this case, I decided to go back to my other primary care doctor and stick with her no matter how far away she was. So yes, she was 45 minutes away from me, but I felt as though she listened to my needs. She recommended different specialists for me, gave me medication that could help manage the hives, and also was giving me tips and recommendations such as being a little more physical, right? Incorporating more movement, more exercise, so that I could work on my blood pressure, right? And it wasn't just like, I'm putting you on blood pressure medication. Did that conversation come up with her? Yes. She did say, if there's a continuous pattern every time I meet with you, then we may have the conversation about getting you on blood pressure medication. I share all that to share. Really think about what is important to you as it relates to a doctor. Is it the advocacy? Is it the distance? Is it what they specialize in? Is it obviously like insurance? You have to make sure that they even take your insurance. There are like several things that factor into finding a doctor that fits your needs. So yes, number one is to find a doctor, maybe write a list of what you're looking for so that when you're doing your research, you know exactly what to pinpoint in your search. Tip number 2 is to stay on track of your numbers. Know your numbers. So I am talking about numbers such as cholesterol levels, blood sugar levels, blood pressure, and etc. Vitamin levels, all of that, because they are indicators into preventing certain diseases, illnesses. I use the example of blood pressure a lot because that has been the focus in my health journey. And it's important to me to know my blood pressure, my cholesterol numbers, because for one, those numbers are linked to CVD, cardiovascular disease, which is the number 1 leading chronic disease in America. And it also runs in my family. So that is really important for me to stay on top of those numbers. Already at a very young age, my blood pressure was creeping up, and so it wasn't until I knew my numbers that I was able to make a few lifestyle changes. So as I mentioned beforehand, having access to insurance and a doctor and just the affordability of a doctor nowadays is insane. Even with, we're not going to get into that. However, there are like health and wellness fairs, local health and wellness fairs that you can look into that actually do free examinations. My third tip is to focus on bite-sized habits that you can integrate into your life today. So I think when we think about a health journey, it seems like this huge world that it's just like there's a lot that goes into it and you want to achieve. I know for me, like I wanted to do a lot at once, but it is really, really crucial to just focus on little tiny habits that really take your health to the next level. It's through that consistent, ongoing lifestyle changes that impact your overall health. So for example, say you are having trouble with your sleep and you want to get 8 hours of sleep. Rather than like setting a goal that is like, okay, I'm going to go to sleep every day at 8 p.m. and get 8 to 9 hours of sleep. I'm gonna make sure that I turn my phone off or put it on silent an hour before sleep, and I'm gonna get the kids to bed by 7 and blah, 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 blah. And I'm gonna start it tomorrow and I'm gonna do that. No. Okay, we're gonna just scale it back a lot. Because based on my journey, I can honestly say I started with like 1,000,001 things of what I wanted to achieve, and I always failed. And I'm not saying that you're not going to fail by focusing on bite-sized pieces, but I'm saying that it gives you the encouragement because it's just a little less overwhelming. So rather than thinking of all these things that you would like to incorporate, start with just one thing that you can do today. So again, if you're focusing on your sleeping habits, perhaps you say to yourself, I am going to put my phone on silent at 8 p.m. because I know that usually at night I start scrolling before bed, and before I know it, I've been scrolling for 3-4 hours. When I see a notification, I can't help myself but to just log on and, see what Susie's doing on Facebook and, see who's tweeting what. Like, try that one little exercise, putting your phone on silent, and give yourself time to explore just that one habit. It could be 1 month that you're focusing on that. It could be 3 months that you're focusing on that. However long it takes for you to nail that habit down. I just love to share with people that this is truly a lifelong journey. So there is no rush in getting everything down at once, okay? You have your whole life to create a habit, to re-strategize, to work towards that. Do you want to see results? Do you want to see a solution? Do you want to get to your overall goal? Yes, you do. But make it easier for yourself. Make it digestible. make yourself feel comfortable with the goal that you're setting, and something that is actually achievable and realistic, so that you can be proud of yourself once you get it done after, you know, the 1 month or 3 month mark. For me, I would always tell myself, Gina, you about to get into the gym every single little day. You're gonna work out 7 days a week for an hour. You're gonna kill it. You have to make sure that you're sweating and all that. You 700 calories every day. Whew, it was overwhelming. I would start a few days, right, in a row, or a week or 2 weeks, and then I would fall completely off. Like, I would fall completely. I wouldn't even give it a day because my body was just so tired, and it was challenging to get myself to that point to go hard every single day. The moment I told myself, okay, you don't need to go 5 to 7 times a week, but you at least need to go maybe 3 times a week. And for me, that was digestible. And then I told myself, okay, you're going so hard. You don't have to go so hard in the gym. You can do cardio one day. You can weight lift one day. You don't have to have like these superpower exercises, workouts all the time. You have your whole life in front of you to go into the gym or to work out every single little week. So why make it hard on yourself? So it wasn't until then that I really started to be a lot more consistent with exercise. Keep those bite-sized habits. Start with one thing and give yourself time and space to actually achieve that one thing, okay? You've got this. I believe in you. I am wrapping it up with this last tip, tip number 4. I believe I said I was gonna give you 5 tips, but these allergies are really just kicking my butt today. Like, I can't keep going. So I'm gonna share this last tip with you, which is to have fun, get creative, get curious. Learn what you want to learn about, set your focus. Even, I hate to say play a game, but see if you can beat your goals, right? So once you set that bite-sized habit that you want to nail down, nail it, crush it, and then focus on the next thing. Learn how you can focus on that goal and crush that goal, and continue over and over and over and over again. Again, there's no rush in this. You have your entire life to focus on your health. All right. And just know again that I'm rooting for you and I'm here for you. So let's do a quick summary of all of the tips. Number 1, first thing you can do to kickstart your journey is to find a doctor, okay? Find a doctor so that you can stay on top of your annual checkups. Number 2 is to know your numbers. Specifically, maybe you want to focus on numbers that impact you and your family. Maybe learn what those are and then make sure that you're staying on top of those. Number 3 is to focus on bite-sized habits so that you don't get overwhelmed with everything with your health journey and you're keeping it light. And lastly is to get creative, be curious, have fun. Thank you so much for watching. That is a wrap. If you enjoyed this video, again, make sure you hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and share with a friend, whoever needs to hear this, okay? I'd love to hear in the comments which point resonated with you the most and what you think you're gonna start off with. All right, bye.